What's going on, everyone? It's Inuyasherz here. What we're going over in today's video is all the great buildings in the game. We're going to go over the pros, the cons, everything you need to know about the great buildings so you can decide which ones you want to build in your city or not. Here's a quick index if there's a great building you want to skip forward to. The first great building we're going to go over is the Observatory. This great building is a must for anyone in a guild, and everyone should be in a guild. It provides goods to the guild treasury of the age you are currently in, as well as providing a large amount of support pool. Each level gives 10 support pool, and this is going to help your guild defend sectors in the GVG. The next great building we're going to go over is the Statue of Zeus. The Statue of Zeus grants you a military bonus when you're on offense in battle. Each level gains you 3% up till level 10, and this is going to be the only effect that Zeus has. Now, fighting is very important in this game. It's a key part. You can fight the continental map to unlock and advance further into the game, as well as attack your hoodies, which gets you points overall. Fighting is going to be the main way you get points until you have a very high level great building, and it's just going to be a core part of the game. Now, some people choose to completely avoid the fighting aspect of the game, and that's fine. They're not going to get nearly as many points, and they're not going to be as effective. Most will claim they can produce more goods and whatnot, but most of them actually don't. They're just posers and liars. I do recommend building a Zeus. The next great building we're going to go over is the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel provides you some goods and population per level. The amount of goods and population are both very minimal, and it does not scale well at all. You'll find tons of houses are far more efficient than the Babel, as well as all the good buildings are going to produce more goods in it. This is a great building I suggest you avoid. A lot of people end up building it just to delete it later on. Save the forge points, don't bother building it. The next great building we're going to go over is the Colosseum. The Colosseum provides you medals and happiness. This seems like a very good deal when you're first starting, but when you look at it, this thing is a freaking monster. It is huge. On top of that, the amount of happiness it gives and the amount of medals it gives are very minimal at best. You should avoid this great building. It is not worth the space it takes up. You will outproduce it big time using cultural buildings for the happiness, and really the medals are not that much. I know you want those expansions, but you are not going to get the medals you need from this. The next great building is Lighthouse of Alexandria. This is a really good great building, and it's a must-have for most part of the game. It gives you a massive supply boost to your actual supplies. Now, this is a boost, so say at level 1 you're going to get 60% bonus on your collection up to 40 times a day. It also gives you goods. Now, the amount of goods may not be great, but still you're getting a chunk of goods while massively increasing your supply production. Not only that, it's relatively small. This is a great building. It's a must-have for your city early on. Build it. It's going to jumpstart your economy. This next great building is the Sophia. The Sophia I have a very controversial opinion upon, as most people don't agree with me. Now, the Sophia provides happiness and forge points, which is great. But it is huge, and the happiness it provides is not very much. It is outscaled by most cultural buildings by this point in the game, and getting it to level 1 only gives you 1 forge point a day. Now, it takes 50 forge points to get it to level 1, so it's going to take you 50 days to make up those forge points. Now, a lot of people will say stuff like, "Oh, I didn't put the forge points on myself, I traded with someone." Okay, well, it doesn't matter. A forge point is a forge point. Doesn't matter if you put it on or someone else put it on. The only way you made a forge point out of it is if they put it on without there being a trade. just because they were going to put it there. Now, if they would do that with one of your other great buildings, you still lost the forge point. In the long run, they do make up for the cost, but that's going to be in the very long run. For example, getting it to level 2 takes 110 forge points and you're still only getting one a day. So it's going to take you 110 days to make that back. It will be up to you whether or not you build this. A lot of people do, and I don't blame anyone who does, but at the same time, I do not suggest it. The next great building we're going over is the Aachen. The Aachen gives you a small amount of coins each day, but it gives you a military bonus when you're on offense. Much like the Zeus, it gives you 3% bonus attack and defense when you're attacking per level up to level 10. This is one of the top must great buildings to me. All the offensive military great buildings are a must in my book. The reasons are the same as the Zeus. You can go back and watch that if you haven't, but I highly suggest building every offensive military great building. That would be the Zeus, the Aachen, and the Del Monte. The next great building we're going over is St. Mark's. St. Mark's gives you some goods every day, as well as gives you a massive boost to your coin production. Similar to the way the Lighthouse does supplies, this will just massively increase the amount of coins your buildings produce. Starting from level 1, it gives a bonus 100%. That means you're getting double the coins from your houses right off the bat. This works for the first 90 collections of the day, and it's just a must-have. It's huge for your economy to have a St. Mark's. It's absolutely a must. It's one of the first ones you should consider rushing just to get your economy booming. The next great building is the Notre Dame. The Notre Dame gives you a small supply production as well as some happiness. Like most of the happiness great buildings, however, it is not very effective per tile. You can have some normal cultural buildings that will outproduce the Notre Dame when they're polished. So this is a great building that is widely considered ineffective by almost every player. You should avoid this. Avoid it. Run. Run away. The next GB on the list is a St. Basil. Now, this is going to be a iffy one. It's really going to change from player to player whether or not this is a good one or a bad one. It gives you some coins once a day, which is pretty much a non-factor. Now, what this is about is it gives you a military bonus, but when defending your city. So, if you're attacked a lot but not plundered, then it really doesn't matter that you're being attacked. People are just getting some points. But if you're being attacked and plundered, that's going to be an issue. That's when you need to start defending your city. So if you're being plundered often, St. Basil is what is going to help you out. One other thing about the Basil is it does provide to the guild support pool. However, it's a very small amount, and the Observatory is far, far, far superior if you're going for a support pool. So you do not get this great building to help out your guild. You level your Observatory instead. That is what will really help them. Not this great building. This is purely if you're being plundered. The next great building is Castle del Monte. Your Del Monte gives a military bonus while also giving forge points. This is one of the best great buildings in the game. Getting forge point production is nice, and yes, I know I made an argument against those type of great buildings earlier, but this one is also an offensive military great building. That alone makes it a must, so getting forge points on top of that, it's just gravy. This is a must-have. Build it. The next great building we're going over is the Deal Castle. The Deal Castle is the same size as most cities. It is fucking huge. What the Deal Castle does is it gives you some medals and some military bonus when you're defending your city. So just like the Basil, this is only if you're being plundered. If you're not being plundered, then it is one of the biggest waste of space, piece of crap. Throw it out. Oh my god, what are you thinking, pieces of trash ever. I am huge against this. Avoid it at all costs. Even if someone was plundering me daily, I wouldn't build it. I would just adjust to where they can't plunder me. But this thing is huge. It doesn't give too many medals. By the time you're able to get this great building, 40 medals is nothing. And yeah, just avoid it. Avoid it. It's a plague. The next great building we're going over is the Dresden Kurderik. What the Dresden does is it provides goods and happiness. Now, this is a small great building, and the happiness isn't all too bad for the size, while it does provide some goods. This is not a great building, but it's not as trash as the other happiness ones. I did not build it. Most top players do not build it, but if you want to, it's not horrible. You can do a lot worse. Up next we have the capital. What the capital provides is some supplies which are meaningless, but it provides you population at a large scale, at least compared to something like the Babel or the housing you have. Now, capital, a lot of players don't grab it, but it's something I personally have, and I suggest avoiding it until you're ready to start converting your city over to a shrine city, basically. A city where you can delete all your housing and you're just going to survive off population from the great buildings. Because the population per tile for this great building is very high compared to housing. So later on it becomes very effective to have, but while at a low level, it's very ineffective. So until you're ready to delete all your housing, avoid this great building. The next building we're going over is the Royal Albert Hall. The Royal Albert is the Lighthouse, but bigger, with a little bit better of a bonus. It provides goods, just like the Lighthouse. It provides a boost to your supplies, just like the Lighthouse. The amount of goods is increased. The amount, or the percentage the supplies are increased, is increased. So, yeah, it's a lighthouse. You might want to build both of them, you might not. I don't know how your city's going to be looking. It all depends on your supply production. It's not a bad one to have. Certainly you can just produce a retarded amount of supplies by having both the Lighthouse and the Royal Albert. And it's not really a bad idea, so something to consider. The next great building we're covering is the Chateau. What this great building does is it gives you a boost to the rewards you get from quests. So when you're at a point where you're doing repeatable quests, this is going to boost the rewards from that. Now, if you ever have diamonds from a quest, this will boost that. It'll boost goods, it'll boost coins, it'll boost supplies, medals, and honestly, I think this might be the most underrated great building. I myself even skipped out on it for a long time, and right now I wish it was the one I leveled the most. It gives some coins as well, but that doesn't really matter. As you can see, the percentage of reward you get when you complete your quest just goes up big time as you level this thing. It's what I would consider a must-have. A lot of cities do have it, a few don't, and yeah, I do believe this one's just an underrated GB and all. Now we're at the Alcatraz. Oh my, what a great building. The Alcatraz provides some happiness, and for its size, the happiness is not too much, but the happiness scales so well on this. I mean, level 10, 11.3k happiness. The happiness goes up big time, and is underrated on this great building. What most people get this great building for is the fact that it gives you unattached units. Any military barracks in your city, this great building will produce possibly that unit each time you collect from this. It'll collect however many units a day. After level 8, the amount goes up by 1 each time. So this is a great building. Many people like myself chose to continue to level past level 10, as you know, mine is level 32 and I stopped there months ago, but mine is level 32 and it gives me 30 units a day for free. So I mean, you can do stuff like what I did was I removed all my military buildings but a rogue hideout, and I produced 30 rogues a day for nothing for a long time. The amount of battles I can do are unlimited because of that. This great building is just a must-have. Anyone who does any fighting whatsoever, this is a must. The only way you wouldn't want this great building is if you do absolutely zero fighting. The next great building on our list is the Space Needle. The Space Needle provides coins and happiness. It's fairly small, but still the amount of happiness it provides is underwhelming. This one is pretty much just a waste. The next great building is the Atomium. I'm probably saying that wrong. I probably said a lot of these wrong, to be honest. Anyways, what this great building does is it provides a kind of a mix between helping the player and the guild. This great building is a big one and it provides happiness, which honestly is more than most of the happiness great buildings. It's not a whole lot, but it provides a lot of goods that goes towards your guild treasury. I mean, at level 1 it's 6 of each good. That's 30 goods a day donated just by having this great building. You take the time to level it up to 10, you're going to be donating 85 goods a day just by having your Atomium. So this one I do recommend to help out your guild. I think it's an underappreciated great building. Our next great building is the Cape. Now this is probably going to be the most controversial opinion on all these. But what the Cape does is it provides forge points every day. And that's it. Now it's fairly small and the number can get fairly large. Once you pass level 8, or really past 7, it's going to provide one more forge point every level. This is lovely and all, but it goes back to my theory, how many forge points are you spending to make forge points? If it's costing you in a FP trade or costing you in any way to put forge points on this building, then it's simply not worth it. Now, a lot of people love this great building, so this is one I can easily see people donating to just because they want to get their own cape. I threw my own cape down reluctantly after a while, and people donate to it, and I don't even know why. Like, I don't offer goods for people donating to that great building like I do my others, but people just donate to it because they want to. So that's the only way I can justify this great building. I kind of suggest building it. I don't suggest power leveling it yourself. I guess that's how I would put it. Our next great building to go over is the Habitat. The Habitat provides some coins and it provides a massive amount of population. So this, like the Capitol, just gets retarded with the population per square efficiency. It gets so good, but unless you're at a situation where you're wanting to remove all your housing, you shouldn't build this. This is one of those buildings that you should wait until you know you're about to need it. You're about to remove your housing, place down shrines or whatnot. That's when you build this and you level it up. At a lower level, it's not very good. As you can see right here, the efficiency per space is only 105 population per tile. But a level 10 one like mine is going to give you 446. That's over 4 times more effective, and it gets really good whenever you're at that point where you need to get rid of your housing. Our next great building to go over is the Innovation Tower. The Innovation Tower gives massive population and forge points. Like the other population great buildings, this isn't too effective early on, but it gets to be a retarded amount of population per square, which is very good. The forge points going up with it is a nice touch as well, because later on in the game you are going to remove a lot of housing and you're going to be using the population from these great buildings. So getting forge points on the side is great. I do not suggest rushing this great building, not until you're at a need where you're going to start removing some housing, but this ends up becoming a must later on. Once you're at that point, you should know if you need it or not. Yeah. The next great building is the Lotus Temple. This thing gives some happiness and some coins. Late game, some of the cultural buildings are just crazy good, to the point that this is just trash. A normal cultural building, polished, is gonna outproduce this no problem. It's just, you don't need to worry about it. And the last great building is the Dynamic Tower. The Dynamic Tower provides you with some supplies, which is nothing, but it has a unique twist to it. When you aid someone, you get goods of whatever age the building you aid is of. So if you aid something that's progressive age, you will get a progressive age good. And it gives you so many goods per day depending on what level it is. Now, this can be really helpful early on. However, this is probably the most overrated great building in my opinion. It doesn't produce a very large amount of goods. There's plenty of great buildings that can produce 40 goods at level 10, which is more than what this will give you. The only benefit from this one is you choose the age of the good by choosing which aid the building you aid is. I do not recommend building it. I think it's completely overrated. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please drop a like, comment, subscribe, share, all of that good stuff. It really does help out and I really do appreciate it. You all take care and have a wonderful day.